All right, so here we go. This is a VR poker session. We're on a 200-400 table, which is considered normal stakes. So it's not micro stakes, it's not low stakes, it's normal stakes. So it's kind of, getting up there a little bit in terms of supposed to be skill, things like that. Um, but the stacks are also a little bit bigger than in the smaller games. So in this particular hand, I had already been playing a few hands, and I noticed that I was actually sitting between two rather aggressive players. One that I would consider to be a maniac who's now sitting on the button, and one that was a little bit more tight, but they were definitely aggressive, and they were sitting on the big blind. And here I am on what they say is under the gun, but I guess that's cut off. Anyway, so let's get started. So of course the blinds go out 200, 400, and because I had been watching a few hands, been participating in a few hands, and this guy had consistently raised to ridiculous amounts, despite the fact that I had a good starting hand, and in VR poker, this I would consider this good enough to raise from the flop. I actually just basically limped in, and limping is actually something that goes on a lot in virtual poker. You'll see that a lot. I'm not sure if it's in cash games or not, because at this point I'm learning all of the fundamentals and stuff like that before I really get into real money poker. We can talk about that though. So I just limped in. The maniac then just calls behind me, doesn't even raise like I expected, so I was a little disappointed. And the tightest player on the table calls, and then the more aggressive person on the big blind checks. The flop comes out 10 of clubs, 4 of clubs, 3 of hearts. So clearly I have both a backdoor straight draw and I have a flush draw. Okay, so net checks. Uh, the first aggressive player, I'm sandwiched between two aggressive players, and he puts in $2,000. I just call it because I know that I'm in between two really aggressive players. And sure enough, the maniac raises to 4,000. The tightest player on the table gets out of the way. The second aggressive player calls, and I call, of course. Going to the turn, now it's a 9 of spades, which doesn't help me toward my flush draw, but it definitely now makes it so that I have, instead of a backdoor straight draw, now I have an open-ended straight draw. So that's pretty cool. So now the tag on the table leads for 1,600. I just call, and the maniac raises it to 3,600. The tag calls, and I call, and we go to the river. The river is absolutely perfect for me. Now I have a flush with the 8 of clubs. I also have a straight, but that doesn't really matter. It's not a straight flush. So the tight and aggressive person bets for 2,000. And I look around at this point and I'm wondering, I don't know if the maniac is going to raise, or so if I call here, is the maniac going to raise so that I can re-raise them? And I didn't want to take the chance, so I just basically went all in. The maniac calls, and the tag gets out of the way, and I win the hand, and the maniac mucks his cards. And there we go. That's the end of the hand. Now, I'm going to be making more videos like this, and as I said, this is actual virtual poker. This is not real cash game poker, and there's definitely differences between virtual VR poker and real life poker, and I'd love to discuss all the various things as I go through these videos and demonstrate some of the hands. I'd love to hear from you. Leave comments below.